Welcome everybody to the Handicapping Weekender for the weekend of March 23rd and 24th, where we're going to take a look at the stakes races from all around the country for Saturday and Sunday. And we'll kick it off with the feature race at Aqueduct, the Excelsior Grade 3 stakes race. They're going to be going a mile and an eighth on the inner track, 7 horses going into the gate. And what we'll do is let's start off with the 4 horse, Morty's Miracle, making his third start off a layoff, stretching out a little bit from a mile and 70 to a mile and an eighth. He's got a couple nice Beyer speed figures in these two recent races at Aqueduct with a 96 and a 98. Last race, just a little wide on each turn, but once he straightened out, kicked it into gear, ended up finishing second by a neck as the favorite, which is not a bad race. You know, he's moving up in class in tomorrow's race, from an optional claiming race into this graded stakes race, and stretching out a little bit, but that's a horse I want to keep an eye on. The next horse is the 2, Last Gunfighter, with a morning line of 5-2, from the barn of Chad Brown. And it looks like he got on a pretty good roll leading into the beginning of the year. He has 4 races that he had won right in a row. A maiden race, and then into an optional claiming race, and then a couple small stakes races. His last win was at Aqueduct at a mile and a 16th on the inner track. Haunting the pace, up close, kind of stalking the front runner there, and won by a length as the favorite, even money. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one as well. Now the next horse we should look at is Jones Choice, number 6, going off 6-1. Just won at Aqueduct at a mile and an eighth. However, got a fairly easy lead and then just ran away at the end, won by 4. I don't think he's going to have that kind of easy pace, especially with the 1 in there. Coliseo looks like previously trained by Rudy Rodriguez, who I believe is serving a suspension right now, so it's shifted over to his assistant. But that horse can show a little speed, and it seems like when he wins, he's usually on the front end doing it. So definitely a little bit of pace in here. Looks like the 1 and 6 could send. The 2 and 4 are most likely going to be stalking, possibly the 3 stalking. The 3, isn't he perfect? Looks like he could sit second or third, but doesn't quite have that punch to run by those horses in front of him. So maybe fill out some of the exotics with that horse. The next horse we have is the 5, Heart Butte. Looks like it thrown into the Tom Fool Grade 3 stakes race, kind of as a prep race, possibly for this. Just kind of ran even. That's the one where Comma to the Top just kind of held on for the win by a nose. So I'm not sure about this. Could he stretching out to a mile and an eighth from 6 furlongs? Does have a little bit of back class. Won some minor stakes races and some allowance races. I don't really see this horse winning this, but it could improve, so it could fill out some of the exotics for you. And then we have 7, Ruler on Ice, who's clearly the class of the race. Has only had 1 start, which was the end of January. Ended up winning that at a mile on the inner track at Aqueduct as the favorite. You know, we go back to 2011. He was running in Pennsylvania Derby, Breeders' Cup Classic, and then once we shifted into 2012, only had 4 races in 2012. The best one he had was an optional claimer for 40,000, finished second, but then was pulled up in ease in the Jockeys Club Gold at Belmont. So I would probably wait for this horse to come back and win. Wouldn't be my first choice, although he's probably the horse to beat based on class. So my picks for this particular race are going to be the 2 and the 4, the 2 Last Gunfighter and the 4 Morty's Miracle. Don't have everything perfect for them, but it looks like they could be on the improve and, you know, get the distance, stretch out, and take it from there. Okay, the next race we're going to look at is the 10th race at Gulfstream Park, the Pan American Grade 2 handicap race. And what we'll do is we'll start off with the outside horse, News Dad. Clearly, the horse to beat has plenty of back class. He's actually won this race last year uh, as the favorite. Went off 70 cents. Um, After that, he actually ran into a buzzsaw in Point of Entry, who won the last 3 races that he was in. Got put away from September to October of 2012, came out in the Fayette and won that race. Going away, it looks like was a little bit wide coming into the stretch, but pulled away from everybody. So News Dad, definitely the horse to beat. Possibly a chance to bet against him off a 5-month layoff. So if you're looking for something else, you could go past this horse. The next horse we'll look at is Twilight Eclipse. Just ran 1 mile and 3/8 on the turf at Gulfstream. Kind of even, then just kind of backed up out of it. But there's several horses coming out of that particular race that we can take a look at. So look for that horse to make some improvement there on the second start off. And maybe he'll get into some minor placings. And then the 8, Empire Builder. Looks like a horse that could fill out your exotics for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, possibly. Definitely in the money. 0 for 6 on the turf at Gulfstream. However, is 3, 1, and 2 out of 11 on the turf. The next horse we'll take a look at is the 4, Mucho Mas. Mucho Mas Macho. There we go. We look for that horse to come with a late rally. This horse seems to be moving up and down in class throughout his whole career here. We see him in some non-winner allowance races, moving up into some stakes races, some graded stakes races. Making a little bit start off a layoff. You see one there in his last race, was 41-1, got up by a neck. There's some decent horses in that race as well, so I'll keep an eye on that horse to come in with a late rally. The next horse we can take a look at, which I'm kind of leaning towards, is Teeks North. Going off 3-1, ridden by Edgar Prado. Coming out of Michelle Nevin's barn. Looks like the 1 to catch, and if you look at that last race there, the 3, I Owe You Big Time, sat behind him for most of the race, and then actually Amira's Prince, kind of, Teeks North was no match really for that horse. Held on for 2nd, but that horse just kind of ran right by him. But definitely Teeks North, the 1 to catch. Could control the pace all the way with the 3 sitting behind him. So we'll talk about the 3 a little bit. I Owe You Big Time. It's got some early speed. I'm not sure what the tactics for today will be. As we've seen, Teeks North took the lead last time, but I mean, if this horse wants a chance to win, it might Sanchez might have to send him right to the lead after possibly seeing what the 2 does out of the gate. So look for those 2, the 2 and the 3, to set the pace for the race. We'll see the 4 coming late. The 5 here also coming out of that last race with Teeks North and I Owe You Big Time. Kind of ran even, didn't really show much. Could wake up on this second start off the layoff and improve a little bit. We have Duck Duck, who I just crossed out. I don't really see this horse, stretching out to that distance and winning. I also crossed out the 7 there. Definitely moving up in class from those optional claiming races. See some state-bred allowance races where it's got plenty of seconds. It's 6 seconds out of 14 races, so that could fill out the exotics. I also crossed out the number 1, Total Reward. Moving up in class from 62.50 races, never won 2 races, coming off of a kind of a 2 or 3 month layoff there. So I think what I'll be looking at there is the 10 coming off the layoff, 5-month layoff. Not really excited about that, but a horse that I'm kind of worried about. I think the 2 and the 3 are probably the horses that I'll be looking towards, especially if it's going to be a controlled pace. I can see the 2 going all the way, or the 3 possibly going all the way, and either one of those. So we'll take a look at the 2 and the 3 when it's time. Okay, the third and final stakes race I have for Saturday is the Tokyo City Cup, the 7th race at Santa Anita, going a mile and a half on the main track. And the first horse I'd like to take a look at is Dharmer. Coming off a 7th month layoff, however, if we look back in his past performance, he actually finished second in the Tokyo City Cup in 2012. And you notice there, from October of 2011 to March of 2012, he's coming off a pretty long layoff there, and actually ran pretty well to finish second in the Tokyo City Cup. And if you look at the past performance there, he's no problem getting the distance. Definitely a horse that I would like to keep an eye on. Okay, the third and final race that I have for Saturday on the stakes schedule is the 7th race at Santa Anita, the Tokyo City Cup, going a mile and a half on the main track. And the first horse I'd like to take a look at is Dharmer. Coming off a 7-month layoff, has no problem getting the distance, and if we look back in his past performance, he actually finished second last year in the Tokyo City Cup to Dynamic Host. And given that, I mean, if you look further back, he was coming off a layoff from October of 2011 to March of 2012 into that Tokyo City Cup. So it ran a beautiful race there. The distance doesn't look like a problem. I really like Mike Mitchell as a trainer. He's got Rafael Bejarano. The distance is not a problem. The only question we have is the layoff, and if we can judge it by the types of races that he has been running in and the time frame that he's been doing it, this is definitely the horse to beat in this race. The next horse we can take a look at is the 6th, Kaleidoscopio, coming off a 4-month layoff. Last race was the Breeders' Cup Marathon in last year. Won that, ran by everybody, and it looks like they had gone pretty fast in that race. They had run 47 and change for the half there, so I think horses were struggling, and this is why it looked like such a big move right by. Fact of the matter is a 10-year-old horse coming off a 4-month layoff. Who knows how many good races he has left in him? So that's a questionable. That looks like could be a bet against for me in this particular race. And then we'll go down to the 5, Richard's Kid, making his 3rd start off a layoff, 9-2 on the morning line. And what kind of bothers me about this is I'm not sure if this is the same Richard's Kid as the one back from 2010, 2011. Doesn't quite seem to have that kick. Last race when Game On Dude ran away by 7 lengths, didn't do much in that race. We kind of see a little middle move there from 13 lengths back to about 10. I'm just not sure about this horse in this particular race. Has no problem with the distance. I have no problem with that. It's just a matter of, is this the Richards Kid that we grew to love a couple of years ago, or is this just another horse that's filling out the card? So now we'll switch over to the 1, Dreamcatcher. Kind of an interesting horse. This is a non-winner, making his 2nd start off a layoff. Been in some optional claiming races, run pretty well. Could fill out the under part of exotics for exactas and trifectas, so I might look to him to do that. Looks like the 3, Batty Man, is the speed of the race. As you can see in his last race, he went 22-2, 45-2, and a mile and a 16th at Santa Anita. Pretty quick fractions, ended up finishing 2nd by half a length. Obviously, I think those fractions definitely hurt him in that race, which is why he just missed for the win. We'll switch over to the 4, Oils. Oil is Black Gold, who just looks like ran his best race ever at Santa Anita, going a mile and a 16th. Stalking the pace, just a couple lengths off. I'm not sure if this horse can get a mile and a half. It could stretch out. I could definitely see this horse sitting in the 2nd, probably the 2nd or 3rd flight in this race and making a move. I'm not sure if he's classy enough to get there, but definitely a horse that I want to keep on my radar. And then there's the 7, Jacito. Definitely shows some back class here. He's also been beaten by a number of these horses. He's run against Dullahan, Game On Dude, Richard's Kid, Kaleidoscopio. I'm not sure about today. He's making his second start off a layoff, but if we look at his last race, it was not that good. So I think I will just leave him out of it. So basically what I will be looking at for this particular race is the 8 and possibly the 4. 8 is definitely the horse to beat. If the 4 is good odds, I might take a shot at him. Kaleidoscopio coming off a 4-month layoff. It's just a little bit too long for me, especially with his age being 10 years old. Okay, let's take a look at a couple races from Sunland Park. This one isn't a graded stakes race, however, it's something that I want to look at because I thought it was pretty interesting. It is the 10th at Sunland. It is the Sunland Park Oaks. It's not graded, but it's a $200,000 race. We have 8 horses going to the gate, and it looks like there's going to be plenty of pace in the race. We have some horses stretching out from sprint races, showing some early speed. We have some horses that have been going a little bit longer distances, a mile, looks like mile and a 16th. And the horse I was looking at here is Countess Curlin, owned by Stone Street Stables, trained by Steve Asmussen, and ridden by Contreras. And what I like about this particular horse is it's on a roll, and it looks like there's going to be pace in this race for this horse to kind of sit behind and run into. The only thing I'm kind of curious about is the stretch out. She's going from a mile to a mile 16th. Doesn't seem like much, so I mean this is the horse that I think I'll take a shot at. We have other horses in here. Looks like there's 2 horses, the 7 and the 4, which have actually been beaten by the 6, Countess Curlin. So, and also as well as the 8. So we have some horses. I'm not sure if they can turn the tables on this particular horse. Looks like the 7 took the lead in the last race, but was no match for, I mean, it was clear and was no match for Countess Curlin. So we'll look for that horse to kind of go all, sit second, third, fourth maybe, and make a run coming into the turn for home. So that's just a quick race that I thought we could take a quick look at. We have the 1 who actually looks pretty good, running in Southern California, Hollywood, and Santa Anita. Last race at Santa Anita was wet fast, going 1 mile. Sat behind some horses, ended up finishing second by half. So that was a pretty nice race in a female state bred race, stakes race. So I'll take a look at that horse as well. So the 1 and the 6, those would be my bets for this particular race. Okay, the next race we'll take a look at is the Sunland Derby at Sunland Park. It's the 11th race. We have, I believe, 9 horses going into the gate here. We're going to be going a mile and an 1/8. And the first horse I'll start off with is the 2, Abraham. Just broke its maiden on a sloppy sealed track, going a mile and an 1/8 at Gulfstream Park. Doesn't look like the easiest race that it had run in, but we know it can actually get the distance. So that's got something on my mind right there. The next horse we'll take a look at is the 3, Storm Driver, ridden by Rye Eichelberry. It's coming out of the Mind That Bird Derby at Sunland Park. Ended up finishing 3rd by a length and a 1/3 at a mile and a 16th. So we have a couple horses coming out of there. We have the 3, the 6, and the 9 coming out of there. So we'll talk about those horses as well. But what I think here is getting that extra 16th of a mile. I have a feeling this horse could actually get by these other 2. We have the 6 here, Dry Summer, who actually won that race last time out. It looks like the horse to beat, definitely on a roll. It's got 2 wins coming from Sunland, going a mile and 70, and then most recently a mile and 16th. Looks like it would just sit second and ran by the horses that were in front of him. This last race kind of looks a little bit more strenuous than, well, actually the last 2 look a little strenuous, sitting 3rd, 2nd and 3rd at the quarter, and then making its move coming into the stretch. So, definitely the horse to beat, or let's look for a horse that can beat him. So let's take a look at the 9, Show Some Magic, also coming out of the Mind That Bird Derby, finishing second to Dry Summer, and then Storm Driver finishing third behind him. Definitely going to be moving coming into the stretch. What I like about this is we have Henry Dominguez and Jockey Contreras, who seem to link up pretty well on Sunland Derby Day. They usually get some good horses and, that are going off at a decent price and, run pretty well. So that's another horse I would take a look at. I'm not really worried about any of the other horses in this particular race. I was looking at the 7 because it was showing some speed at Santa Anita, but, after that after that long drive in that last race, going pretty quick at the quarter too. It looks like that horse could be over and might be a little bit tired. So the horses I'm looking at here are the 3, 6, and 9. I probably will not be going for the 6. I think there's some horses in here that could take him down. So I'd be looking for the 3 and the 9 as some long shot bets in this particular race. Nothing really sticks out to me that I'm really excited about, but those are the horses that I'll be looking at. So if you're betting tomorrow and Sunday, good luck to you, and we'll see you next week.